Hi, my name is Oracle Laura. I am a psychic and a medium, and this is the Oracle Laura Show. Today I have a very special guest. His name is Jean-Pierre Giagnoli. He is Italian. I probably didn't say that right. I hope I've said it right. Now, Jean-Pierre, I'm going to start this over again. I don't know if I can. Hold on.
Yeah, do what you got to do. No worries. I'm here.
Okay, we're just going to keep going because I don't know if I can redo it. I just want to clear my throat here so I can say your name properly.
Yeah, no worries. No problem.
All right. So Jean-Pierre Giagnoli, he's a founder of Southern California Paranormal Detectives. He's also been in a few different movies. I love it. You can check them out. One he was in is called Queen Mary's Dark Harbor. And he's also, this is really exciting, he's also the lead in the new film, The Flesher. So that will be coming out. So we need to check that out. We need to see what that one's going to be like. And why don't we start with that? Jean-Pierre, if you could give us a little bit of a storyline. I don't know if you're allowed to too much. You can't give away, I know, the whole thing because it's a new film. But if you can tell us what that one's going to be about or what your role is, you've got the lead in that. That must be exciting.
Yeah, definitely. Basically, I became friends with the director on Facebook, Michael Mustesis, and he's been following my career. I've been busy, working, doing a lot of acting. And he focuses mainly on horror. So he gave me a few small roles in his other films and really liked, my acting. And he said, I'd really like to give you a lead in a movie. So he started writing a script called The Flesher, Bone Collector. And he said, hey, I'm working on this project. I want to know your cultural background. Like, do you speak another language, this and that? And I said, oh, yeah, I actually speak fluent Italian. And he said, that's great. I'm going to incorporate that into the character since I'm casting you as the lead. Just a little bit about it, because obviously I can't give away too much. We haven't started filming yet. It's something we're going to start hopefully relatively soon. The pandemic pushed a lot of productions back. Yeah. And he's an independent filmmaker, so obviously it's going to take some time. But I'm definitely excited about it. I'm playing the main role of this basically like serial killer. And then, they're using my background with Italian.
Okay, so you're allowed to give us away that. You're allowed to say that you're going to be a serial killer, because that's being a psychic. Before we started the show today, I had that feeling I was going to ask you what your lead was, and I thought maybe you're the killer. So that's cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, it's not a big secret as far as that goes. I mean, not giving away any story plots or anything, but
yeah, exactly.
Kind of the basic info, the main stuff of what the role in the movie is going to be about.
Okay. So do you know where they're going to be airing that movie? Like where that's going to be shown?
I know he has a penchant for going on the horror festival circuit. He's won a ton of awards. The Butcher to date is one of his biggest films, and that's one of the first ones I saw of his before we started working together. And he is making a sequel and gave me a small role in the sequel. And then again, we've talked and he's been watching my career, so it just built up from there. So he mostly goes on the indie horror circuit, but internationally, he's won awards for his horror films all over the place. So it's definitely exciting to work with him, because I feel like, once we get the project done, it's going to get all over the place. Usually Amazon is where he releases his films. Okay. So it'll most likely end up on Amazon Prime.
Amazon Prime, yeah, great. That's awesome. That's a big one for you then, right? That's one of those stepping stones for something bigger and bigger, and you start growing from there, and you just keep getting. So how many awards has he won? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, no, I don't know the exact amount of awards, but he's won quite a few. I mean, we're pretty close on Facebook. He's always posting, and he's constantly getting awards, even during the pandemic, because his films are being pushed out at all these festivals. He's constantly posting about this award and that award. I mean, Europe seems to love his films a lot. He gets a lot of awards from out there. So
he's probably got an IMDb page. Like he's got like a list of all his previous.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's great. Awesome. Now what about Queen Mary's Dark Harbor? What was that?
Yeah, so that is a big Halloween event over at Queen Mary here in Long Beach, California, where I'm local to. And I applied for a job over there. I used to work as a monster over at Knott's Scary Farm. Knott's Berry Farm's big Halloween event for 6 years. Funny enough, it's where I met my wife. We were both monsters, and found other common interests. So that
Hey,
was fun little way. We're both kind of spooky into the Halloween and paranormal, so that works out really well. But I left the event because I was always so busy during Halloween. I never got to enjoy the season because I was working every night. So I took a few years off, but the bug started to get to me again, and I just kind of was getting more into acting rather than my corporate job, which I kind of got sick of. And I said, let me go for this Queen Mary event and try it out. I went to audition. I had a lot of energy because I was ready to break out of the corporate world and just kind of do entertainment. And surprisingly, I got the role. I didn't realize it until they contacted me, but I got one of the main characters for the event, known as Samuel the Savage. All the mazes they have for their Halloween event at the Queen Mary are based on true to life murders or accidents or tragedies that happen on the Queen Mary. So there's an element of truth to all of the characters and stories on the ship. So that's exciting as well.
yeah.
And yeah, so that's definitely a big thing. I think one of the most exciting things for me, especially always having a penchant for entertainment, performing, acting, music, all the things I do, is just being part of that and seeing my face on merchandise. I did their commercials for the event, so the promotions, and it was a lot of fun and a great experience that just pushed me more for my passion of acting and entertainment. So
Tell me more about this monster wife. You're a monster couple. That's great. What monster did she play?
So we both were kind of like zombie apocalyptic creatures when we first met working the event, and we kind of switched our roles over time because I worked it for 6 years. I believe she worked it for, I think, 4 or 5, because then she was getting a regular job after a while, and it was hard to balance the two. But I switched around and eventually became a clown because I'm a big clown myself. I like to joke around and have fun. So I did really well as a clown over at Knott's Scary Farm, scaring people with my laugh and my crazy walk and all the stuff I came up with for my character. And my wife switched around. She did a clown one year, but then she also did a witch and like different characters throughout the event at different mazes. I moved up to the street zone areas, so we get to free roam around the park and scare people in our like sections, which is a lot of fun. So that's kind of how we met. And her heritage, she's Navajo, half Mexican, so she has the indigenous aspect of it. So obviously very spiritual people. So we connected with our paranormal interests very quickly, because I have a big passion for the unknown and investigating and exploring things that are supernatural. And she loved that stuff too. So she calls me her Fox Mulder because we both love X-Files as well. So
Yeah, that's great that you've got someone that's an understanding and shares your passion for what you do. Because sometimes there's couples and they each have their own kind of a lifestyle and their own career. So the fact that you share that's good. I like that.
yeah, definitely. And we still have a lot of things that I think a lot of our main foundations of our directions and pursuits in life that are kind of different, but we have so much in common, our beliefs, our philosophies, and even our interests and passions that, it's a pretty good balance.
So have you met any really famous other actors, like while you're on your other roles?
Definitely. I had a decent role in Ford versus Ferrari. I was featured in that film, and I actually did a scene with John Bernthal. I worked with Christian Bale and Matt Damon in the movie as well, because I was one of the main Ferrari people because I spoke Italian and everything. So I had a lot of interaction with them and working on set with them very closely. So it was a really great experience. Christian Bale is a solid, focused actor. When he's on set, he is that character, and that's it. John Bernthal's a little more laid back and friendly. He does his role, but he can, come in and out pretty quick and be friendly and talk and chat. Matt Damon was joking around between takes and things that really made it the atmosphere fun, and broke the seriousness once in a while, which was nice. But it was still an incredible experience. That I had taken some time off from acting I was working my day job. I would focus on the paranormal, obviously, and I do music as well. So sometimes I'd be doing those things as well as stand-up comedy. So I switch around depending on what things are kind of cooking at the time. But when I finally got the random call to be on Ford versus Ferrari, and that became a big thing, I worked on the movie for 2 months. I just really realized that's a direction that I want to go. I mean, even the director James Mangold directed me in the scene I did with John Bernthal. So that was just very it was a confidence booster, and it made me feel really confident pursuing acting as something very serious.
It's interesting what you said about how those two actors, Damon and Bale, how they do their job, how they do their role. I mean, I could see myself doing sort of probably the both. You know, I'd probably be joking around in between the sets, but on set I'm very serious. And people say it's like I don't even need a script. They say that you're just on. It's like you seem to know what you're going to say, and you seem to know what you do, and they don't even need to give me a script. Like I just wing it. And they're always impressed. You know, the producers especially, they always say that. They say that we don't even need to give you a script. You seem to really know what to say and what you're going to do. And so I don't know, it just comes naturally to me, I guess, because I usually play me. I'm different. You know, like I'm not an actor per se. I'm what they call talent. So I'm always playing myself. You know, I'm always like a guest star or guest appearance, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it just comes natural, you know. So I can see that. I can really relate to what you said. I know there's other actors. I won't name them all here, but there are other actors like that, like Bale, where they're very serious. It might be Jim Carrey. There was one actor I remember where they said you can't even talk to him when you're not on take and is in between breaks. He likes to really get into his role and stay in his role, and he likes to stay in that headspace, and you can't interrupt him and bother him. He really doesn't want that interfered with, which makes sense. You know, you can't be offended by that. So I think that's cool.
Yeah, definitely true. And I relate to even what you said very much. I come from an improv background as well. Very good at you know, just coming up with stuff and speaking. I'm a great communicator, and I've always been complimented on my ability to speak and communicate with people. So that definitely makes a big impact when you're filming things. I shot a pilot for a paranormal reality show called Underwater Paranormal. It never went anywhere because of the pandemic and stuff. We're hoping maybe in the future we'll pick back up with the project. It was an interesting concept, but you know, interviewing me when they were shooting footage of me talking about, you know, how water and the paranormal are connected and stuff, you know, none of it was written down, but the executive producer was just very impressed at my ability to speak. He called me, he nicknamed me Mr. Soundbite, because he said the things you say, like I want to just pull out those little clips and put them in, because it's just like, it's so well said and it hits to the point directly rather than, you know, going around it. So I definitely relate to that as well, having that improv background, able to speak and just put it out there.
Maybe that explains how our intro got all messed up.
Maybe, yeah.
It was testing us.
There you go.
I'd like to talk a little bit more about your paranormal detectives. Can you tell me what have you experienced anything supernatural, or have you found any ghosts yet?
Oh yeah, we've been doing it for a very long time. When we officially kind of started it as something more serious was in high school. I met my best friend Adam Catabona, and he's the co-founder of the team and the organization. And we just started going out to like haunted places, looking stuff up. I've had experiences with the paranormal since I was very young. So I think I was like 2 or 3 years old. I saw my grandfather's spirit in my grandmother's house, and they said, "Oh, it was just a bad dream, a nightmare, whatever." And I kind of stayed quiet, but I knew what I saw, I knew what I experienced, and I kept experiencing things after that moment. It's like whatever, my third eye opened up, and I started becoming very open to experiencing things like that pretty constantly. And then when I was about 10 years old, my family sat me down and said, "Hey, we didn't want to scare you. You were very little, but our family is sensitive to these things, all the way from Italy to here. Like my grandma had experiences, my mom did, my brother did, and there's even like certain relatives in Italy that are you know, known to have had a lot of paranormal experiences." So it wasn't so much a mystery after years of being like kind of closeted paranormal, that like I came out and was like, "Oh, okay, you know, this stuff's real." Like my family experienced it, and I just became super passionate and interested about it. Started reading books, watching whatever movies, shows, anything that was available to me, because I was so fascinated by it. And I think the biggest question, which I have theories on but still searching for, is you know, how come some people seem to be open to it and experience it, and other people completely closed off, possibly never experiencing it? And that's a tough question to answer. I think it's different for everybody, and it's very much in the years I've done it, an experiential thing, meaning that once you experience it, it seems like you're more open to believing it to be real, rather than, oh, I didn't experience anything and I don't know what it is. So
that's a really good point. I think it's quite a combination. I mean, I know with me, it runs in my family. So you could say, well, it's probably in the blood, it's in the genes.
yeah.
But also, you have to be sensitive to it. You have to be aware and sort of be open to see it. And then you also have to be a believer, like you said. Some people will be closed off to it. Like if I'm giving a reading, I give psychic reading. If I'm giving a reading to a client who's sort of skeptical, it is a little bit harder to break in. I mean, I usually end up convincing them by the end of a session anyways.
Yeah.
I can sort of break through that wall that they've got, and they're always impressed. But it is difficult if people don't want to believe and they close themselves off. So I think it's great that you've experienced it as a child and your family sat you down and talked to you about it. Sort of what I went through. I went through a similar thing. I was like only about 2.5 at the time though. But it's good when you have an understanding family and to be able to talk to people and come out about it. I mean, in a way, it's like coming out of the closet, coming out of the skeleton closet. It's good. I'm glad that you've mentioned it, because there's probably people who are watching this right now, or they're going to be watching it, and they're going to be going through exactly what you went through and what I went through, and they're going to be worried about, well, how are people going to see me, and are they going to think I'm crazy or weird, and they're not going to look at me the same again. It's good that there's people like us that can be understanding about it. We've gone through it too, and since we were able to come out about it, then they might feel not so timid about that. So good to
Yeah,
talk about it, right?
Yeah, definitely. And even in relation to you, I actually have my PhD in parapsychology, so that helps with my credibility as a person who investigates, studies, researches. I lectured at Chapman University in the sociology department for about 5 or 6 years on the subject. So having that background helps. And then because I also infuse the scientific method with the spiritual side of things, I get a lot of respect from skeptics, because I'm not out here trying to prove this stuff is real to people. I'm explaining my interests, my passion, and my methodology for exploring it and researching it, investigating it. And you tend to bring people on board when you're not just kind of yelling out stuff, but explaining things in a more grounded way. I see people being more fascinated and terrified when I start explaining how I do things. So
yeah, well, I know for me it sounds slightly different because I'm in the industry of having to prove myself. I do have to convince skeptics, especially if they're my client, and I have to it's sort of my mission in life to sort of prove it to the world. Like, I don't know how much you've researched me, but I have premonition dreams, and I have about 10 or 20 a night, and they all come true. They're all premonitions. I don't have normal dreams like normal people do, like wish dreams or fear dreams. Instead, they're all premonitions. And so, for example, like today, I just before we started our show today, I noticed there was news about Michael Madsen. He's been in a lot of my dreams recently, and I've been wondering when that one was going to come true. And today, his son, there's news about his son had committed suicide. And so, in a way, it's sad, but at least it can verify my abilities, and I have, again, more proof of my credibility. Yeah, but it's hard. It's your end's a little bit easier.
no, definitely, I agree. And then, I work with many clairvoyants, medium, psychics, and I have over time. And what we do is to prove their authenticity as well, is, that we use the scientific and the spiritual to kind of test each other. So, we'll go in with our equipment, look for readings. We'll keep the medium, psychics, whoever, away from all the information, bring them in and see if they get hits where we got hits. And that's how we sort of cooperate and work together and prove the spiritual side or the psychic side or the medium side with the scientific method. And that, again, is another way to help validate and, solidify somebody's ability. And I've noticed with all the people I've worked with as well, with your kinds of abilities and different ones, it's different, a little different for everyone. Some people have, again, like you have those premonition dreams. My younger brother has more of the medium, where like they communicate through him, and we get information from him from the other side. So there's like different types of abilities with different types of kind of people, depending on, you know, what they do.
I do a little bit of that too, like with my clients, you know, if they want to talk to someone who's passed on, or even if they didn't even ask, that person who knows them will come through, and I'll send on the message. I don't know if I say it, they speak through me, but they talk to me and then I pass on the message. So like a telephone message.
Yes,
And,
yeah. And my brother was like that as well.
but I like what you said about how you don't tell them anything before you pull them in, because that's the way I do things. Like I'm always strict with my clients. I'm always saying, please don't feed the psychic. Please don't tell me any information. Like I understand they've got questions and they want to tell me what they want to know about their life. But in the beginning, I'm like, don't say anything. You know, please wait through. What I usually do is I give the reading, and then halfway through our time, I'll say, okay, now you can ask your questions. If you want to tell me about yourself, go ahead, but you don't have to, but just ask me your questions now. But in the beginning, I want like what I call a blank slate. I want sort of like a chalkboard where there's nothing written on it. And I want to be able to see what I pull out. And then I want to know if that's accurate with them. And I want them to verify if that's accurate, so I know I'm on the right path. But other than that, I don't want to be told anything. I prefer it. Like I've worked with the police for over 37 years on like hundreds and hundreds of cases, and, you know, criminal cases, homicides, missing persons. And I get told by them that, like one in particular, a chief of police, he goes, you have a really good track record. You know, and he's always referring me to other police all over the world because of my accuracy. And that feels good for me. It feels good to hear that the police believe in me. They've witnessed it. I've proven myself thousands and thousands of times. So I am in the industry of proving myself. But what can you tell us one of your most memorable experiences with your paranormal detectives?
Let's see. I mean, there's quite a few. I've been doing it for quite a long time. I think one of the most intense was only because it actually affected me personally, and that rarely happens. We did a case out here in Southern California. You know, we were told there was activity in the home. We didn't realize it was going to be as intense as it ended up being. So we went to investigate this home. We usually conduct investigations at night due to work and just, you know, different energy levels at night and all that good stuff. The moment we stepped out of our vehicles and got to the place, it was 2 stories and had a balcony. The metal furniture on the balcony started moving around like somebody was dragging it. And like, it was like, it's rare that activity starts so quickly. It's usually waiting around for hours and hoping we capture some sort of evidence and validate the client's. And the moment we got there, stuff started happening. So I was like, you know, let's get our cameras, let's get our equipment, let's go and see what we can, you know, pick up and find and discover. And so eventually, which we have a process of talking to our clients to figure out what's going on beforehand. And that's me. Like I said, I keep usually the psychic, medium, whoever, away from all the information, and I handle all the direct contact. So, you know, we ask them if they have any history of mental illness in the family, have, you know, all the standard questions, kind of get an idea of who they are as a person. You know, psychology is big for me. So studying their behavior, their answers, and how they are is very important to kind of assess the situation before we go in. So, you know, we try to figure out all that stuff, and we ask if they've messed with voodoo, witchcraft, Ouija boards, tarot cards, things like that, because we find a lot of our cases, the source is that somebody messed with something they didn't understand, and then all of a sudden it opened up a doorway, and their house, you know, going crazy or something like that. So this particular client didn't tell us one bit of information, which could have been potentially very important to our case. So we're investigating. Some of our team members had experiences. We caught some evidence. We had a lot of stuff happen. But towards the middle of the night, the client's sister came home, and she worked a job late at night, and apparently was with some shady people. And I was breaking down some of my equipment in the home. And as I'm doing that in the stairwell, I feel like almost like a boulder from Indiana Jones was going to roll down the stairs and hit me. Like it was like a big energy felt like it was coming at me. So I like braced myself for something. And it's this little petite Latina girl walks down the stairs, and something in me said, like, she's part of this. There's something with her that is related to why this stuff is happening in the home. So we just continue along, breaking down our equipment, talking with the client, you know, and finally I noticed that small petite Latina girl's like not taking her eyes off of me. Like I'm going behind walls, going to different places, talking to my team, getting stuff broken down. And I'm like, yeah, she won't take her eyes off of me. So finally, I had to put the piece of equipment away in a gear bag that was right next to her on the couch. So I went over there, put the piece of equipment down, caught eyes with her for a very short amount of time, maybe less than 5 seconds even. Immediately, my chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. My eyes started to water. And it was the first time I actually ran out of a house, only because I felt my safety was in danger at that moment. So my wife was there as well, part of the team. She runs out after me and asks me if I'm okay. I said, I am now, once I got out of the threshold of the house. But when I caught eyes with that girl, like that, I just couldn't breathe. And I felt like something was like trying to choke me. So we finished bringing out equipment, all that stuff. We go home. And the next morning, I actually had a circular burn mark on my chest, right where I felt the tightness.
Oh my.
And at the end of the night, the girl that I caught eyes with was still in the house, but her sister who owns the house came out to talk to us. And I said, hey, I don't know what's going on, but I think your sister has something to do with this. Is there anything that you did not tell us? Because we need to know all the information in order to give you a proper assessment. And she goes, well, I was worried, but I guess I should tell you guys since this happened. She's messed with witchcraft, and I don't know if she knows what she's doing, but her and her coworkers have like stolen each other's hair and done stuff to each other. That's what I've heard like bits and pieces about. And I was like, yeah, that can definitely open up things that, cause this kind of activity. If she's messing with things she doesn't understand, and depending where she's messing with things, what she's doing. So that gave us a good clue as to why the activity was happening. So that was one of the most intense, because I run up to stuff. I walk straight up to stuff. I'm pretty fearless most of the time. But that was a moment that I felt unsafe. And I just wanted to make sure that I was okay and the rest of my team were okay. So I got out of that house and everything was fine. So.
That could explain why your sound is sort of distant and acting strange right now.
Oh, really? That's strange.
It's normal now. It's gone back to normal, but it was really off. Your audio.
Oh, weird. I mean, I am pretty loud. My wife says that all the time, so I could just be maybe putting too much towards the mic.
Maybe, but it was weird. The timing, though, I never believe in coincidences.
Neither do I.
And I find it really odd that when you're talking about that, it starts to affect your audio.
It's very possible. I mean, it was again one of my most intense experiences. So
just in case people didn't hear it, how did it involve that girl, and what did the family say that they didn't tell you earlier and that they told you now? What was the issue with her?
Of course. So the client's younger sister was doing witchcraft from her knowledge to other coworkers, because the other coworkers were doing it to her. So they both got involved with doing like witchcraft type of things. And that was a piece of information that we again tried to ask before we even went into the case, and weren't told until the incident happened with me, and she saw that I was pretty shaken up by what had happened. Like, oh, I need to tell you guys something else. So
it's affecting your audio again. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're going to move right along to another topic here, and I want to see if the audio goes back to normal.
Okay, yeah, let's give it a shot.
Because see, you're talking now and it sounds normal now.
Weird.
It's gone. It's cleared up again. This is very freaky.
I like to say exciting, but
exciting. I like to be dramatic.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so what would you tell what kind of inspirational message do you have for other actors who want to get into this field, especially maybe they want to do horror movies or something? What would you like to say to them?
With anything in regards to acting and entertainment, you really have to put your all into it. It's something I didn't do until about 3 years ago, and quit my day job, really just focus on doing entertainment, and that was it. So it's taking the risk and believing in yourself, even if nobody else does. Do it. People don't realize the patience you have to have and the sacrifice you have to make to really pursue your passions and turn it into a living or a career. And I think if you can dedicate yourself, if you can wipe off the losses, wipe off the rejections that are going to happen, I think there's so many doors that exist and opportunities that you can find them, but you have to be willing to stay on the path. Because, even when I was younger and I was pursuing entertainment, like I had so many friends that had the same ambitions, but by the end of it, like everybody had dropped out, got a family, got a job, and went for the normal path in life. And even when I was working, I still on the side worked on my projects, whether it was the paranormal acting, comedy, music, so on and so forth. So sticking with it, no matter how long it takes, no matter the sacrifice you have to make, no matter if people believe in you or what they think of you, what you think of yourself means more than anything. And I had to learn that. So, to give a backstory and hopefully a little more inspiration, I was severely abused growing up and told not to do all the things that I wanted to do, that it was pointless and stupid and wouldn't make money, and was put down a lot and had a lot of self-image issues, self-esteem issues, and wasn't confident in pursuing it. And the moment I set boundaries and stepped away from my family for a bit to heal myself and do what was right for me, my perspective on life changed, my opportunities changed, everything changed for the better. I quit my job. It was scary. My wife was scared. Everybody was worried. But at the end of the day, it's been over 3 years and I've never missed a bill. I've taken care of all my responsibilities and I'm very happy. So that is the advice I would give to anybody. It's just go for it. It doesn't matter what your parents think. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. If you follow your heart and what you think, you're going to find your place.
Would you say that it's given you more confidence?
Oh, yes, a ton more confidence. I'll tell you a very important pivotal moment in my life. We went through a lot of changes. My wife got in UC Davis. She moved to Northern California. I was supposed to, but the pandemic happened. I got stuck down here with my in-laws. My in-laws were very loving and accepting of me, and they didn't hover around me like my abusive family. So within a few months, I was able to be with myself, sit with myself, and heal myself. I used to look in the mirror and see like the ugliest person in the world. I would just go, ugh, how am I going to make it? This and that. And then once I started to heal, I looked in that mirror and I saw me. I was just me, all my imperfections, all my flaws, whether I'm attractive or not, whatever, like this is who I am. And I accepted fully who I am. And that confidence level boosted up. Of course, working on Ford versus Ferrari, being directed by James Mangold, working with John Bernthal, and Christian Bale and Matt Damon, and for 2 months, like all that helped. But the biggest confidence booster was stepping away from toxic relationships and working on myself and following my desires, my heart, my passions. And that builds your confidence 10 times more, because you believe you can do it when you're actually doing it. So
that's a great message. Thank you for that. That's awesome. I have to get behind that and back that up 100%.
Definitely. Thank you.
What would you like to tell your fans?
Just keep an eye out. I'm always working. New projects are coming out. Sadly, I got to stay quiet about most of the TV shows I've been working on recently, at the end of last year, beginning of this year. But when they come out, I'll be pay attention to my socials. They're all out there. I released a paranormal rap album back in October that I promoted pretty well. So you can go check that out on every major platform. My website, mcpierre.com. That's the letter M, the letter C, PIERRE.com. You can check out the full album. It's full of my experiences, cases, different things, and it's all paranormal related. So it's something that a journey I went on that I think came out really well. I'm actually going to be on a panel at the Fear Fair in Las Vegas in May, and I may be performing my songs because it's a music festival as well. So all paranormal stuff coming forward too. That's
great. That's awesome. Well, thank you for being on my show. I want to thank you for being here and sharing your stories with us. This is Jean-Pierre, how do you say this? Giagnoli.
There you go. Got it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.